First thing I want to talk about, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. If you live in San Diego, if you live in California, if you are a fan of soccer, if you are a fan of sports, if you are a fan of commerce, if you are a fan of just what makes sense, you need to get this video viral. You need to get this podcast episode viral. You don't have to listen to anything else I do. Don't have to like, share, anything else I do. If you get this one thing going. San Diego needs to have a professional soccer team. And I cannot stress this enough. I cannot repeat this enough. I've been talking about it with people now for the last month, and it just makes so much sense. I unfortunately don't have the $1 billion to put behind it, to go put the soccer team out there. But if I had $1 billion, this needs to happen. And I'm not even a San Diego sports fan. There's not a single team in San Diego that I'm like, I really like the team. I'm a fan of that team. Not a single one. Not even a team in California. But it needs to happen. There's multiple reasons why this needs to happen. Let's simply start with location. You know what where San Diego is? The most south in California you can get. You know the only thing more south than us? You hit Mexico. You know what's really big in Mexico? Soccer. And I'm saying this, I'm not even trying to be professional or trying to give a delivery or a cadence. I'm simply stating how I feel and stating facts. So this is going to be kind of raw how it comes out. I was talking to a friend the other day. The team in TJ, they are, I'm going to mispronounce this. I apologize. My Spanish isn't very good. My accents are terrible. But Xolos de Tijuana, they play for Liga MX. Hundreds of thousands, not 1,000, not 10,000s, hundreds of thousands of people, every single game they play, go from California, just California, not even the states surrounding us, just California, down to TJ to watch that team play. I repeat, hundreds of thousands. There are guys who have bigger channels than I do and bigger platforms than I do that go down to Tijuana to watch those games. They're almost like national events. They are that big. They are that packed. You've got, if not, what did we all have to hear about during this last election? Be honest with yourself. Oh, there's so many illegals in California. Oh, there's so many illegals in California. You know who can't go down south to watch the games because if they are illegal? Those guys who could watch the San Diego professional soccer team. Because they don't have to cross the border. If you believe the numbers, and I'm not taking a side on which numbers you believe, but if you believe in those numbers, or if you're just rational and know that there are people here that are illegal, those are added fans. You have the rivalry aspect. Because you have a team so close, you build an instant rivalry. The Dodgers and Angels are in separate leagues, have almost nothing to do with each other, but they have a rivalry. Why? They're both in LA. Oakland, the Oakland Raiders, soon to be the Las Vegas Raiders and San Francisco 49ers, they had a rivalry. Why? They were both in San Francisco. They were both on the Bay. The team, the Xolos de Tijuana, they just got first place in their league. What better team to start a rival with than a team that's not so-so, is not run down, not a poor excuse of a franchise, is a well-run team that just got first place. They lost in the playoffs, but they just got first place. So you're building with a contender. You've got people in the area who already are fanatics about the sport, who already go above and beyond just going to a regular game. I can go to a Chargers game, not that I went to very many, and it's not hard for me. I drive down to Qualcomm, pay the money for my tickets, get in my seat. It's a pretty easy transaction. There's people, hundreds of thousands of them, that cross the border, which I've never personally gone to TJ, but the stories of the lines, how long they can take, how long it is going back, turns into not just an all-day event, turns into an all-day and night event. I've had people tell me that I've gone to work with, and we go to work at 6 a.m., They didn't get back until an hour ago because they went to TJ the day before. People that are already willing to give 19, 20 hours of their time to go watch this event. You've already got location. You got the immediate rivalry. You've got the immediate fan base. Why else do you need a soccer team in San Diego? Let's look at the state for a second. Not even just San Diego. Let's look at the state of California. The state of California is one of 2 states that have more than 6 professional teams. The only other one is Texas. Partly because we're the only 2 big enough to host such that many professional sports teams. We're just huge. That's how it works. It's no offense to Wyoming, but you guys don't have a single one, and you guys aren't big enough to have one. I'm sorry. No offense to Wyoming. Love you guys. Never been there, but love you guys. Let's look at the teams that are in California right now. In Major League Baseball, Athletics, Dodgers, Angels, Padres. I'll be more specific for everybody. Oakland Athletics, Los Angeles Dodgers, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Make sure you get that in there. And San Diego Padres.
Go Padres!
But in the NBA, you have the Los Angeles Lakers, Los Angeles Clippers, Sacramento Kings for at least another year. I don't remember the Kings situation. I don't remember their resolution if they're moving or not. But for right now, you have the Sacramento Kings. In the NFL, you have the now Los Angeles Chargers, Los Angeles Rams, the current Oakland Raiders, next year will be Las Vegas Raiders, San Francisco 49ers. Let's count that for a second. You have 11 teams in the state of California that are professional. And I'm not even counting, I'm sorry, you actually have 13. I'm being disrespectful because I don't know hockey, but I know there's the San Jose something, the Los Angeles Kings, and I think one more.
Go Goals.
So there's, the Goals, wherever they play for. They're not, oh, okay, never mind. I'm getting told misinformation.
Go Goals.
So it's 13, 14 professional teams. Now, I can't for sure say on hockey because I don't watch hockey. But I know the Los Angeles Kings were hot for about a year, and that was the year they went to the Stanley Cup Finals. Otherwise, I've heard almost zero about them my whole life. The Los Angeles Dodgers and the Los Angeles Lakers are really your only prime tickets. They're the only 2 teams that if cities had to draft teams, who do you want? The Dodgers and the Lakers are the only 2 teams people are even thinking about picking up. The Raiders, you might get into that category of how the reputation of the Raiders in Vegas gives you this kind of symbolic thing, but take that out. Simply take if every single state and every single city got to be like, okay, who do we want as our professional sports teams? The Lakers will get picked up early. The Dodgers will get picked up early. Everybody else, they gonna have to wait. You know, it's like when you go to middle school and everyone's kind of, there's usually get a bunch of kids from different elementary schools, and you get that first day of PE where people are playing dodgeball, they're playing basketball, and everyone's like, well, who do I want to pick? If you're the Lakers kid and you look like you are that good, people will take you. If you are the Padres kid, that means you're probably the kid that's a little socially awkward and no one's taking you until if they take you. Let's be honest. A soccer team in San Diego, not only would it probably maybe the Lakers would challenge them for the biggest ticket in San Diego or biggest ticket in California, they would be exceedingly more popular than the rest of them. And think of this one, which is a big thing. Only a few select teams truly bring in out-of-state revenue. You have to be big time to bring in out-of-state revenue. I mean, like the Cowboys bring in out-of-state revenue. The Celtics bring in out-of-state revenue. The Cubs bring in out-of-state revenue. There are certain teams that are just so big, they bring in money that's not just their local fan base or their state-based fan base. They're huge. It's like Amazon brings in out-of-state revenue. Starbucks, because I think they're technically based in Seattle, they bring in out-of-state revenue. You've got to be a big deal to bring in out-of-state revenue. So we have location, rivalry, in-state competition. Check, check, check. They're golden. Let's look at another thing. Simply the popularity of it. This kind of goes to the other ones, but I want to talk about more so soccer as a whole. I won't lie to you, I'm not the biggest soccer fan in the world. To sit there and say that I'm watching all these games, I know all these players, I've been following the league really closely, I would be lying to you. Excuse me. The U.S., though, has football. The most popular sport in the United States is the National Football League. The NBA is probably the most popular in urban and rural areas. Baseball is America's pastime. You got pretty much everybody over the age of 50 watches baseball. If you think they don't, they watch baseball. I have a lot of elderly people in my family who aren't even sports people. But once they just got to a certain age, they're like, yeah, I'm going to start watching baseball. It's the only thing that moves as slow as I do now. Soccer is worldwide. If you live in the U.S., I remember growing up as someone who lived in the U.S., fun fact, I always was so perplexed by the fact, what? Soccer had the biggest ratings? Soccer drew the most fans? Soccer's the most popular sport? Because it's not to us, but it is worldwide. You know the quickest way out of the U.S.? South of San Diego. The amount of people that tune in, that go to, that participate, that are active in professional soccer, and not to mention, there's like 8 leagues in professional soccer. I was learning this as I had to do my research. I couldn't even tell you if you got a professional team in San Diego, what league they would join. Like, I know here's like Liga MX, they have MLS, they've got Premier Leagues, they have all these different leagues. There's guys who are contracted to like 2 or 3 teams, and I'm just like, whoa. Like I said, I haven't been the biggest fan my whole life, so I wasn't about to go immerse myself deep into the culture, but so many professional leagues, so many players. The worldwide aspects of soccer are just humongous and tremendous. If you believe in, said this at the very beginning, if you believe in commerce, if you believe in popularity, if you believe in just what's right and what fits, a soccer team needs to be in San Diego. There's so many reasons. It's advantageous to the fans here. It's advantageous to the community. Especially if you're one of those people who are so sad that you just lost your Chargers. You bring a soccer team here, the added revenue that a soccer team brings in, they'll build you 3 Qualcomms. They'll build you a Qualcomm that is so high, it's the size of 5 Qualcomms. You can get whatever you want, the kind of revenue a soccer team brings in. What are some issues with this? Which I think there's very few. I think, like I said, it just makes too much sense. It really does. The issues. There's 2 that I would directly link. Landon Donovan, who is the best U.S.-born soccer player as far as ratings go. Would you be able to get someone of his caliber? Because I think if you're going to open up a new team, I don't know exactly how soccer works. But if it's like the other sport, then you've got to kind of sit there and pick off with what's left. If you're an expansion team, are you able to get that primetime guy during free agency who you can theoretically overpay? You have no one on your payroll. You can pay this guy as much as he wants. I mean, get the money trucks, get the U-Hauls, back him up to his apartment, back him up to his new 40-room house, 40-room mansion, and just let the money flow. You can pay that guy whatever you need, but you need to get him. So there's one of my issues. If you can't get that guy, it becomes a much harder sell. Number 2, and I think this is the biggest reason, and I've never even fully understood it. Billionaires don't like San Diego. Think about this. The Chargers just left. Why? Because the common reason is Dean Spanos didn't want to put the money up for a stadium. Okay, that's a bunch of bullshit. And it's not even saying that Dean Spanos isn't cheap, because he is. He's notoriously a cheap ass. But trust me, if the city really wants you to stay, or the NFL really, or your sports league really wants you to stay, they will go 50-50 with you in a heartbeat. If the Dallas Cowboys were like, yeah, we really don't want to stay in Dallas anymore, the entire state of Texas, who has one of the lowest tax rates in the union, would immediately flip that, and everyone would gladly give an extra $100 a paycheck to keep the Cowboys there. If they were like, we want a $2 billion stadium, but we don't want to pay for it, the NFL would gladly put up $1 billion of that. So if they want you to stay, they'll keep you. The Clippers left in the 1980s. Why? It's supposed to be for the same reason. Their owner was a cheap ass, didn't want to pay. Well, I don't know about you, and it's always kind of a weird argument. I don't know a lot of billionaires, but I know there's a lot of stuff that goes into creating a business, into creating an empire, and there is as much money earned, there is a lot of money spent. Most of these guys don't get to where they're being a cheap ass. There was not a whole lot of, well, I put my pennies away. But when you're in San Diego, I'm only going to get political here for about 30 seconds. When you're in San Diego, you're in California, in the most blue state in the union, besides Hawaii, and you've got to pay these huge taxes. Yes, it is a little bit less of an incentive to pay these huge taxes compared to if you're somewhere in Texas, compared to if you're in Miami, to get new stadiums built, to get players brought in, to simply run a team from there. It is extremely expensive, even if you're a billionaire, and it's not the most financial beneficial situation for you. Besides that, everything else, we could get a soccer team in here tomorrow. It just makes sense.